Najib Razak loses bid for house arrest and will remain in Kajang prison. UMNO leader's Mao coalition exit, Zahid Hamidi urges for calm. All that and more coming up. A major setback for Malaysia's former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak today as the High Court rejects his bid for house arrest. Is this the end of the road for Najib's political comeback?
The Kuala Lumpur High Court has rejected former Prime Minister Najib Razak's bid to serve the remainder of his jail term under house arrest. Judge Alice Loke ruled the royal decree from the 16th Yang di-Pertuan Agong was invalid, saying the addendum did not comply with Article 42 of the Federal Constitution. She added that Malaysia has no legal framework to carry out a house arrest sentence. Najib's family was visibly distraught in court, with his wife Rosma Mansor seen holding his hand and expressing her dissatisfaction. Meanwhile, their daughter Noriana Najwa shared her grief on Instagram, urging her father to stay patient and take care of his health. Najib's bid began in 2024 after he filed a judicial review following the Pardons Board's February decision halving his 12-year SRC international sentence and reducing his 210 million ringgit fine. His convictions stem from abuse of power, criminal breach of trust, and money laundering involving 42 million ringgit from SRC International, a former 1MDB subsidiary. In his application, Najib argued that a supplementary royal decree dated January 29th allowed him to serve the remainder of his sentence under house arrest, alongside the main decree that reduced his sentence.
In a press conference, lawyer Shafi Abdullah claimed that the High Court ruling limits the Yang di-Pertuan Agong's authority and reshapes how royal pardons are handled.
This is shocking because under Article 42, bracket 2, which she did not touch today, which we submitted a lot, what other federal authorities like the prison can do, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong can do. I mean, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong can do matters which relate to the issue of prisoners, which of course includes matters like pardon, respite, and what do you call it, reprieve, and so on and so on. Keputusan hari ini seolah-olah menunjukkan the Director General of Prison has got more powers than the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, which is turning logic upside down. Yeah?
Shafi said that Najib and the lawyers were shocked by the verdict and said that they will file an appeal. In her judgment, Judge Alice Loke ruled that Sultan Abdullah's supplementary decree was invalid because it bypassed constitutional procedures under Article 42, which require clemency decisions to be made in consultation with the Pardons Board. She noted that while the power of clemency is a royal prerogative, it must still be exercised within the framework of the Federal Constitution. In other words, the king cannot grant a pardon independently of the Pardons Board.
Meanwhile, anger is boiling within UMNO after a DAP leader celebrated the High Court's rejection of Najib's house arrest bid.
Najib Abdul Razak's supporters in UMNO are venting frustration after the High Court rejected his bid for house arrest, with some blaming the Madani coalition. UMNO Youth Chief Dr. Akmal Saleh issued a strong statement urging the party to withdraw support from the government, emphasizing that UMNO should act as an opposition with dignity rather than face humiliation. He also urged party delegates attending the upcoming General Assembly to unite and amplify the voice of the Malay grassroots, warning against intimidation. Previously, Umno President Zahid Hamidi reiterated the party's commitment to cooperate with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and the Madani coalition despite internal disagreements over Najib's fate. Judge Alice Loke had ruled that the house arrest addendum issued by the 16th Yang di-Pertuan Agong was invalid as it bypassed constitutional procedures and the Pardons Board. Opposition MPs welcomed the verdict, with Subang MP Wong Chen describing it as a victory for justice, while Puchong MP Yeo Bee Yin highlighted it as another reason for year-end celebration. However, Akmal took aim at Yeo, reminding her of DAP's recent political defeats in Sabah. Subang UMNO Division Chief Arman Azhar Abu Hanifa weighed in as well, cautioning Pakatan Harapan supporters against excessive celebration and urging respect for political alliances. From now on, you can also listen to KiniNews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Scan the QR code on the screen to follow us.
Following Akmal and Yeo Bee Yin's remarks, Umno President Zahid Hamidi urges restraint as the party navigates internal and coalition tensions.
Umno President Zahid Hamidi issued a pointed warning on social media following the High Court's rejection of former Premier Najib Abdul Razak's bid for home detention. Against a red backdrop, he posted a single-line reminder, "Do not pour fuel on a raging fire." The post followed criticism from Umno Youth Chief Dr. Akmal Saleh, who called for the party to reconsider its alliance with DAP and its role in government. Meanwhile, Najib's sympathizer and senior party figure, Puat Zarkashi, described the court outcome as predictable. He also questioned the handling of Najib's 2018 pardon, citing procedural irregularities in the royal addendum. The court had noted that the addendum was issued outside a pardons board meeting, a point critics say casts doubt on the validity of earlier decisions. Tensions escalated further after DAP lawmaker Yobi Yin's comments celebrating the ruling drew sharp condemnation from Umno leaders. Secretary General Ashraf Washdi Dusuki described her remarks as rude and lacking in humanity, suggesting it may be time to reassess ties with allies in the Madani government. Zambri Abdul Qadir, also Barisan National Secretary General, called her comments inappropriate, while Umno Ulama Council Deputy Chairperson Khairuddin Aman Razali said they smacked of insolence.
Moving on to the next story, if you say no to corruption, do you still have legal duties after that? Khairi Jamaluddin says silence alone could be a crime.
Former Minister Khairi Jamaluddin is raising legal questions about an alleged bribe linked to tobacco policy, and he's pointing directly at former Health Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa. In an Instagram story, Khairi shared a Code Blue report which quoted Zaliha's former aide G. Sivamala. Sivamala claims Zaliha had turned down a 50 million ringgit bribe to drop the generational endgame policy on tobacco and vape. Khairi also shared a ChatGPT breakdown stating that public officers who failed to report bribery attempts could face liability under Section 25(3) of an unnamed act. According to Malaysia Kini's checks, the MACC Act requires reporting bribes or attempted bribes, with penalties for failure. However, it remains unclear whether the law applies to witnesses. Code Blue reported that neither Zaliha nor Sivamala lodged any reports with the MACC. Sivamala later gave contradictory accounts about the timing and nature of the alleged bribe. The generational endgame provisions were eventually dropped from a revised bill tabled in November 2023.
If you like the stories we produce, consider supporting us by subscribing to Malaysia Kini. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe.
A controversial MACC raid has sparked allegations of intimidation and calls for accountability, putting law enforcement under the spotlight.
Did MACC cross the line during a raid on a businessman's home? Businessperson Albert Tay and his lawyer Majos Singh are weighing legal action over an MACC raid last month. For now, Majos said the priority is ensuring enforcement agencies act within the law. He said the issue is one of public interest, particularly to prevent unlawful conduct or intimidation, including the use of threat or firearms. He added that the focus remains on accountability and transparency, with legal remedies possibly pursued later. Majos was responding to Bersatu Information Chief Tun Faisal Ismail Aziz, who pointed to a past legal precedent. Tun Faisal referred to lawyer Siti Kasim's 2018 case, where she won about 270,000 ringgit after an unlawful police raid. Tay's case stems from a November 28th MACC raid at his Puchong home, where officers in tactical gear handcuffed him and escorted him into an unmarked car. His wife later alleged excessive force, including a gun being pointed at him. Police have opened an investigation, but Selangor police said initial findings found no evidence of a firearm being aimed at Tay. Majos has since renewed calls for video footage of the raid to be released.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to malaysiakini.com. I'm John Ng. Thanks for watching.